What's up everybody, it's your boy Hokage here. Welcome to the video. Today I'm going to review Boruto chapter 45, which literally came out 2 hours ago. And without further ado, let's get into the video. This is very interesting to me because recently I reviewed Boruto episode 152, an episode which I personally enjoyed but didn't give it a very high rating. And in this case, it's going to be like the opposite. I'm going to give this chapter a very high rating because I thought it was fantastic, but personally, and I'm not saying that the chapter is bad, as I said, I'm going to give it a high rating, but personally I wasn't the biggest fan of it, mainly because my personal expectation for this chapter was that we were going to get some information bombs about the Otsutsuki clan. Now granted, we did learn that they plant the god trees by planting the 10 tails, which was very interesting, but that's not super important, I guess. I was more so expecting stuff about the actual clan, stuff that's going on within the actual clan, perhaps, stuff like that, basically. Again, just because I personally had this expectation doesn't mean that the chapter is bad. It's just that as I was reading this chapter, and as I was reading Amado's, I guess, information, which wasn't really new at all, like pretty much everything he said was already known, I was just waiting for that, fact bomb that would completely blow my mind, but it didn't happen. It's possible that it will happen in chapter 46, because Amado did say that he has more to say, about the Otsutsuki clan and everything else. I don't want to jinx it at this point, so if anybody wants to ask me this, I'm not expecting anything. I think that he'll just say a few more things that we already know, and yeah, I don't want to jinx anything, and I'm not gonna have super high expectations. So in conclusion, fantastic chapter. Just me personally, I was just waiting for that Otsutsuki information, which didn't happen yet. But again, the chapter was fantastic. The only problem that I had with this chapter from an objective point of view, of course nothing is 100% objective, but you get what I mean. The only problem that I had was, I think, the first 10 pages or so. When you look at this chapter as a whole, the entire chapter is a build-up to new relevant information from Amado, build-up for the Kashin Koji versus Jigen fight. But then if you look at the first 10 pages, they build up what's going to happen, in the last 30 pages. My point is that the first 10 pages should have been condensed into like 5 pages. Like, that's literally my point. I don't think I often complain about the pacing of the Boruto manga. I did complain a few times, especially I think during the Boro fight and the Delta fight, which took more chapters than I thought they should have. But I don't really consider this a major complaint, because it's just a minor complaint about the first 10 pages, and I get the purpose. Tension was building up, and everything, but again, I literally just reread them before recording this video. I think Amado sits at the table and starts talking about relevant stuff at like page 10, which I thought should have happened way earlier. But yeah, other than that, this chapter was straight up fire. The Kashin Koji and Jiraiya theories are officially dead, because it is confirmed in this chapter Kashin Koji is created. Now that we know that he's like created and that he's not like a proper human being, and by the way, this makes me think of the Mitsuki retrieval arc and the synthetic human beings or whatever. Now that we know for a fact that he's created, he's definitely not Jiraiya, but this probably means that he was created out of Jiraiya's cells or something like that. Well, I take that back. I don't think that this probably means that he was created out of Jiraiya's cells. I just think that it's a possibility, right? Because, again, probably is a huge word to include here, but I'm just saying he might have been created from Jiraiya's cells, because, he has the toad summoning, he has white hair, He has the Rasengan and all these things. Like, I could be wrong, but maybe it's just because I heard so many Jiraiya theories, and then I subconsciously want to connect Jiraiya to Kashin Koji somehow. But anyway, it is a fact that Kashin Koji is created. That's the only important thing. We knew that the bodies of inner car members were modified, but it looks like Kashin Koji is special because he was literally created. And also, I actually saw this on Twitter. I don't know who posted a screenshot, but that one panel from chapter 45 was kind of similar to the little tragic moment from the pain fight with Jiraiya getting stabbed. Of course, this was a clone. It wasn't actually Kashin Koji, but is that like a hint that Kashin Koji has some type of connection to Jiraiya? Perhaps he was created from Jiraiya's cells. I don't know, but I just wanted to mention it. I saw it somewhere. Again, I don't know who posted it, but I'm pretty sure I saw it on Twitter. Yeah, I definitely saw it on Twitter. Anyway, I don't really mind the fact that we didn't get the full fight between Kashin Koji and Jigen. I think the build-up is really good. Of course, it's a little, I guess, frustrating that we didn't get the fight now or even the chapter before, but it's called build-up, and in the end, it's gonna pay off. Speaking of build-up, look at the Chimera Ants arc from Hunter x Hunter, right? I mean, yeah, a lot of people complain that it's slow and all of that. I don't really mind it because, I mean, that build-up resulted in one of the most satisfying conclusions ever. So, yeah, you got to keep that in mind. Anyway, now that I mentioned the fight between Jigen and Kashin Koji, or like Ishiki, whatever, I want to mention the fact that I think Ishiki, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you will agree with me, I'm pretty sure that Ishiki has a goal of his own. Like, sure, we know that we know the entire thing with planting the 10 tails, growing the tree, eating the fruit, killing the planet. Again, we know that ever since Naruto Shippuden, basically. But I feel like there's more to Ishiki's character. I don't think that he's gonna be the final villain of the series. It's gonna be interesting to see whether he eventually takes over Kawaki's body. But again, I don't think he's the final villain. But if you look at most major Naruto villains, they usually have like a noble goal. And I'm not even saying that Ishiki should have a noble goal. I'm just saying that I don't think that he's just a random villain who just wants power and nothing else. I genuinely don't think that's the case, and I hope that's not the case. Also, shout out to Naruto. Seeing him so mature is so satisfying, and it just shows that he went a long way, man. He went a long way. In this chapter, we finally learn what caused the blimp crash that happened many chapters ago, and it all makes sense now. And this is a really interesting detail because, I mean, many chapters ago, sure, it was kind of strange that it crashed, but I bet that a lot of people not like forgot about it, but didn't even think about it at all. But then Kodachi throws in this little detail and connects the dots. So respect for that. I really like that small detail. And again, it all makes sense, with Kashin Koji and Amado being traitors, not really wanting to cooperate with Jigen/Ishiki. Now, this begs the question. I mean, let's assume that Amado created Kashin Koji. It's not confirmed, but let's just assume that. Assuming that Amado created Kashin Koji, and he probably before creating him, he joined Kara or after, whatever. Like, why did he join Kara in the first place? Was it to gain information about Jigen, about the Otsutsuki clan? I don't know. I don't even know how Jigen managed to find Amado. But anyway, all of that is going to be explained in the future of the Boruto manga. The formation of the Kara organization, how Jigen came into contact with these guys, and all of that. And I'm really looking forward to it. It feels like these manga chapters of Boruto answer so many things, but whenever they answer something, they leave like 10 more questions. This whole mysterious aspect of the Kara organization of the Otsutsuki clan, I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying Kashin Koji's character, because I mean, he's literally the embodiment of mystery. So yeah, I'm not saying that he's one of my favorite characters, which is what a lot of people say. I see it on Twitter all the time. Me personally, until I know his motives, his goal, his backstory and stuff like that, I can't really say he's one of my favorite characters. but he definitely keeps me at the edge of my seat whenever I read these chapters. And I feel like Kodachi will write him really well in the future. I also don't think that he's gonna die in this fight. I said this many times in the past, but if I had to bet on who's gonna die in this fight, I would say Jigen, and then Ishiki transfers to Kawaki through the Karma Seal. I don't even think that Jigen is gonna die, but again, the main point is I don't think Kashin Koji will die, especially now that we know that he was actually created, and there's still potential there for Kodachi to explain how he got created, who created him, for what purpose, and stuff like that. Well, the purpose was to kill Jigen, so in that case, that kind of confirms, I guess, that Amado created him, because he joined Kara wanting to betray Jigen eventually, I guess. I mean, it doesn't confirm it, but it's very likely, right? Now, whether I think Amado will betray Konoha or not in the future, I don't think he will. I will say that he was acting kind of strange in this chapter, especially when he was teasing Shikamaru, and my goodness, that moment when Shikamaru stood up, I mean, you could really feel the tension in this chapter, especially for Shikamaru, because this is his child that we're talking about, right? You know, Amado was making weird jokes slash comments about how he could finish off Shikadai at any point, right? And as a parent, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a parent, I'm saying, like, for Shikamaru as a parent, that must be pretty bad to hear, you know, pretty I understand why he got so triggered, right? And these like little character interactions and dialogue scenes, I feel like they were written really well. And this is my final point, I guess. I think I said it earlier, but just to say it once again, this chapter is clearly a huge build-up for what's gonna happen. The only reason why I'm not gonna give it a 10 out of 10 is because I thought the first 10 pages were paced a little odd. So that's why I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. The fact that 99% of what Amada said was already known isn't bad, because it was never really directly stated in Boruto, so this serves as a reminder for us, and also Boruto and Kawaki learned a few new things, right? So again, just because I personally had expectations, like potentially very high expectations, doesn't mean that because these expectations weren't met, the chapter is bad. Absolutely not. This chapter gets a 9 out of 10 from me. I enjoyed chapter 44 significantly more, which is why, you know, for me that chapter is a 10 out of 10. But again, this chapter was still fantastic, and I cannot wait for the next chapter. You know, given what's going on in the world right now, time passes very slowly, so this 1 month wait until the next chapter feels like 2 or 3 months, I swear to God, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, let me know how you felt about this chapter in the comment section of this video. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Again, let me know. That was your boy Hokage, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.